What's up, everybody? I'm Marcus.
I'm Ryan.
And together, we are the Northwest Sports Fanatics. We want to finish up our NFC preview here. We're going to go to the NFC North. I'll start it off with the Green Bay Packers. They went 11-5 last year. They won the division. Head coach Mike McCarthy. They picked up Dayton Jones in the draft. Running back Eddie Lacy. Also another dynamic running back, Jonathan Franklin. They did lose Greg Jennings and also safety Charles Woodson. On offense, they're led by no discount double check Aaron Rodgers. You do got the belt as the #1 quarterback in the NFL. 4,300 yards, 39 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Recently signed a 7-year, $130 million extension. Now, Greg Jennings did leave, but they won't miss a beat. You know, they got Jordy Nelson, James Jones, and Randall Cobb. Potential, all three, to get over 1,000 yards each. Nelson was injured last year. He's coming back. He should be a little healthier next year. But the player to watch to me is Randall Cobb. He had 80 receptions, 954 yards, 8 touchdowns. His role will increase. Also, don't forget they lost Donald Driver. It's time for Jermichael Finley. It's time for you to put up or shut up. You know, so much talent, but little production. You know, you complain about Rodgers won't throw you the ball and this and that. It's time, bro. This your contract year, so you either do what you do or you will be out the door. Rodgers, you know, he has something Green Bay hasn't had in a while since you go back to Ahman Green, and that's a running game. He has 2 capable rookie running backs, one in Eddie Lacy, you know, to me was the best running back in the draft, and Jonathan Franklin, who was the most dynamic in the draft to me in terms of his rushing and also his ability to catch the ball out the backfield. The question mark is their offensive line. They gave up 51 sacks last year. Now, that's a lot of sacks, man. And with 130 mil, you know, investment, you got to protect that investment. On defense, you know, they led by Clay Matthews, 13 sacks in 2012. They got embarrassed by the 49ers in the playoffs. Dom Capers, you know, the defense coordinator, he's been in the lab all summer trying to see if they can fix that. Nick Perry from USC, he will be coming back from injury. Also, they brought back the veteran OG Desmond Bishop. AJ Hawk, you know, your linebackers are solid. BJ Raji up front, he's the anchor of their front 7, so they should be better. Now, the secondary is as talented as any secondary in the NFL as far as the cornerbacks is concerned. They got Trayvon Williams, Sam Shields, and Casey Hayward. Casey Hayward did have 6 picks last year as a rookie. Shields and Hayward, they are still young, so they are still improving. Now, with Woodson gone, Morgan Burnett, you know, he is talented. But MD Jennings, you know, he's just an average safety, so you're going to have to step your game up and hold your weight. For me, I predict a 12-4 record for them. They're going to repeat as champions there in the NFC North. Look out for Randall Cobb. He's going to have a big year. And also Dayton Jones there to help get pressure on the quarterback. Now, Ryan, what do you think about the Minnesota Vikings out there?
All right, Minnesota Vikings. I think everyone can agree that was the surprise team of 2012. I don't think anybody thought that they would go 10-6 and make that wild card spot. You know, but you had a lot of things kind of fall into place to make that happen. Going into this year, I'm not sure if Adrian Peterson and that team will have as good of a year. Probably an 8-8 year is what I'm thinking. But you have Leslie Frazier, head coach. He's obviously bought some time as the head coach there with that nice season last year. Christian Ponder, I'm not really sold on him, but he did play pretty well for him last year, even though you handed the ball off to Adrian Peterson, it seemed like, almost every time that you were on offense. But Joe Webb, nice little storyline for them. That's your backup QB. He's transitioning into wide receiver. So he'll play backup QB and wide receiver. So they're looking for some more weapons there on the wide receiver position. You did draft Cordell Patterson, and I like that draft pick. You know, you stole away Greg Jennings from the Green Bay Packers, so you'll have him, Jerome Simpson, Jarius Wright. So the core is a little young besides Greg Jennings, but we'll see how that pans out. You have Kyle Rudolph, my favorite young tight end. You know, he had 53 receptions for 9 TDs, so you obviously have a nice little core there. And then you have AP. AD all day. You have the best running back in the league, the NFL MVP, 12 touchdowns, 2,097 yards rushing. He was only a few yards away from breaking that rushing record, but kind of makes me wonder, you know, he had a ACL, MCL tear. He had 2 significant, obviously, tears in that knee, and he almost broke the record. So hopefully, AP, you're not cheating, and it's all legit, because obviously you let a lot of people down if that was the case. But I don't think he's going to have as good of a year. He's predicting 2,500 yards. I think somewhere probably between 14 and 1,800 is more realistic. You do have a good O-line, though. Matt Khalil, I like him. Phil Lodeholt. So you still have some nice pieces there. As far as the defensive line is concerned and the defense in general, Jared Allen, superstar from Idaho State. Who would have figured someone from Idaho State, Mr. Jared Allen? I love him. One of the best players in the NFL at DN. You got Brian Robinson. He's great, too. He's playing great. Kevin Williams at D-tackle. You did draft Sharif Floyd to play next to Kevin Williams, since you used to have Pat, and he's not there anymore. I do like that pick from Florida. Nice D-tackle pick up there. And then as far as linebackers are concerned, you have some vets. Chad Greenway, he's been there forever. You got Aaron Henderson. You stole away Desmond Bishop from the Green Bay Packers, and they needed a linebacker. They got him in free agency. I thought that was a nice pick. One of the best safeties in football that's young, Harrison Smith from Notre Dame. I know, Rick, you're watching this right now. Notre Dame, you actually got a winner here, Harrison Smith. I love him. He had a great year, 3 picks. Nice skill set that this guy has. Good hands, good footwork, and he actually had 103 tackles. Ooh. From the safety position, and you don't see that from a rookie very often, so I really like him. And then as we move forward, you got Xavier Rhodes, nice corner there. Obviously that's going to fill a need because they do need corners. They're still going to have to reach for more of the corners that they have. But I do predict about an 8-8, maybe a 9-7 season if Adrian Peterson can get over 1,800 yards. But if he gets under 1,800, I think about 8-8. They'll just miss the playoffs. You do have a good Detroit team there. Chicago's kind of rebuilding. Green Bay's so dominant. So we'll have to see where we go from there, but that's what I'm predicting. What do you think about, obviously, your Chicago Bears?
Chicago Bears, last year they went 10-6. They lost the tiebreaker to the Minnesota Vikings, so they finished third in the season. But you know what? You go 10-6, Lovie Smith, you're fired. That's not good enough. They bringing in Mark Trestman there. They drafted Kyle Long from the University of O to help out on that O-line. Outside linebacker Kasim Green, Martellus Bennett. They did lose Brian Urlacher, first ballot Hall of Famer for sure. Yep. They also picked up offensive tackle Jamrod Bushrod from the Saints to help out with that protection there. Jay Cutler, he was inconsistent last year. 19 touchdowns, 14 picks. But I won't say that's his fault. The O-line was horrible. And besides Brandon Marshall, they never really had another consistent receiver step up. Brandon Marshall did have a huge year, as he do. That's what he do best. 118 receptions, 1,500 yards, 11 TDs. But the other receivers, where you at? I'm putting the whole Chicago Bear receiving core on the milk carton because y'all non-existent. Y'all missing out there. Yep. Also, who was non-existent last year was Matt Forte. He's one of the top backs in the league. He had a career low, 44 receptions. He should get back to that 1,000-yard mark. 60 receptions, 600 yards receiving. Also look for Alshon Jeffrey. He's been working hard this offseason. Hopefully he'll step it up. Throw in Martellus Bennett. Now, he had a great year last year for the Giants. Now, Cutler finally have some quality weapons. The O-line, again, should be better. Kyle Long from the O. Bushrod from the Saints. Kyle Long has great upside, and he has that lineage, that genes. The son of Howie Long. Now on the defensive side of the ball, Brian Urlacher is gone. They still have Lance Briggs holding it down. They picked up DJ Williams from the Broncos. They drafted Joe Bostic in the 2nd round. They also they got Kasim Green, so they have a linebacker duo in the wings. Julius Peppers, he's still beast moding out there, 11.5 sacks, still top 5 DN in the league to me. Now it's time for Shane McClellan to take over for Israel Idonije. He's moved on. You got one of the best D tackles in the game in Henry Melton. He had 6 sacks last year, which is good from the D tackle. You got Stephen Pye. He's legit from Oregon State. That's a nice solid front four. Now to the secondary, you got cornerbacks that's all pro. Charles Peanut Tillman, and also you got Tim Jennings, one of the top cornerback duos in the league. They combined for 12 interceptions last year, so look for the same type of contributions from them. Also, Major Wright at the safety position. He's entering his contract year. He's a solid safety out there in Chicago. Chris Conte, the Bears will always be known for their defense, even with Urlacher gone. For me, I look for another 9-7 season. My breakout player, I'm going Kyle Long on the offensive line, giving them that protection to keep Jay Cutler upright. And also Devin Hester. You're on the milk carton too, bro. Where you been, man? You've been stuck on 13 kicks returned for the last 3 years. This year, they only going to let you return kicks. So I'm going to need you to make a couple of house calls this year. Now, Ryan, what about Detroit Lions out there in Motown?
All right, Detroit Lions, I think you have a lot to be kind of excited about. You kind of had a down year. You were 4-12, obviously, last year. You had a few players, break some records and have some good, statistics. But this year, I think if they stay healthy, Reggie Bush, the new free agent they picked up, including him, I think you could go like 9-7. But if you get injured again, like they typically do, maybe a 7-9. You'll flip-flop that number. But Jim Schwartz, their head coach, he's got a lot of passion and energy, which I do like. I think he has great leadership skills for this squad. Matthew Stafford, when he's healthy, top 5 QB, I think, in the whole NFL. When he's not healthy, then he drops off to maybe the top 15. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of a up-and-down year. You don't really know what you're going to get from him. He threw for almost 5,000 yards last year, 4,967 to be exact. He did have 20 TDs. But unfortunately, he had 17 picks. Ooh. So that's not as what you would expect from Matthew Stafford, from #1 pick from Georgia. You'd expect a little bit more. But what I do like, you picked up some really key pieces. You picked up David Akers. You got for a kicker, so now you got a kicker that's aging, but still can be solid for you, for your team. Reggie Bush is the biggest pickup they made in free agency. I love this pick. He had a breakout year. He finally proved that he can be a starter for all 4 downs, and he didn't really prove that he could do that when he was on the Saints, but I think in Miami last year he did finally, and I think he can do the same for Detroit. And Michael LaShore, no disrespect, but hey, you're not a starting running back. I mean, you really made the team struggle when they needed you. They needed you on 3rd and short. You couldn't produce. But Calvin Johnson definitely stepped up. He broke some records. Jerry Rice's record there, 1,964 yards. You only had 5 TDs, though. So based on that yardage, you think that you would have at least maybe 10 touchdowns or more, but you did have 6 opportunities that you got tackled within the 2. Mm-hmm. So obviously they punched it in with the running back when it could have went through the wide receiver position there as well. You have Ryan Broyles, no more Titus Young. He got arrested, so you don't have to worry about that anymore. Brandon Pettigrew, one of the up-and-coming tight ends, you have him. Tony Scheffler, you have him as well from the Broncos. So there's some nice pieces there on offense. We'll see if they develop. As far as the defense is concerned, you have 2 of arguably the best D tackles in the whole entire NFL, with Ndamukong Suh here from Oregon, and you also have Nick Fairley from Auburn. Ndamukong Suh, he had 8 sacks last year, 25 tackles. Nick Fairley had 5.5 sacks, 27 tackles. Are they the best D tackle combo? It's yet to be really seen. If Nick Fairley maybe steps up to 7 or 8 sacks, I think that might be the case. Ziggy Ansah, the DN draft pick. I really like this draft pick. Ziggy, man, this was a great pick for you. Jason Jones as well, but I think Ziggy can give you 10 sacks at that DN position. If that happens, they might be closer to 9-7 rather than 7-9. Stephen Tulloch, veteran linebacker, their middle linebacker. I do like him. He's been there for quite some time. He's solid. Yeah. He's a good veteran, leader for that defense. As far as the rest of their linebacking core, it's kind of no names. DeAndre Levy, Ashley Palmer. You haven't really heard of these guys, so we'll have to see, if they pan out. As far as their secondary is concerned, that's where they've had the problems in years past. You got Chris Houston. He's average, above average. You got Darius Slay. You picked him up as a rookie cornerback. I do like him. Louis Delmas. I think he is their best secondary player at strong safety. Yeah. And then you have Glover Quinn, you know what I mean? And I think he's a little bit above average. Sometimes he plays good, sometimes not. But I think with their rookies that they drafted and with the coach that they have, I think it's a nice fit for them. Will they produce this year? It's tough to say. But I do think if they stay healthy, 9-7, might be a nice possibility from this team.
All right. Now, there you have it. That's our NFC North preview. You can hit me up on Twitter, Marcus Hill _NWSF.
And Orion_NWSF.
Hit us up on Facebook.com/NW Sports Fanatics.
And we want to shout out all our sponsors. We want to appreciate all the love and support that you're giving us. Thank you.
Shout out to Banner Bob for the banner in the background. You can hit him up at signshack.net. Also hit us up on Instagram, NW Sports Fanatics. I'm Marcus, this Orion.
And together we are Northwest Sports Fanatics.